Chapter 14. Towards Independence. By June 1944, it was clear that the Allied forces would soon win the war. Gandhi now felt sure that India could win her independence, and he wanted agreement between the Congress and the Muslim League. In July, Gandhi wrote to Jinnah. They met several times in September. But then talks broke down. Jinnah wanted partition. He wanted the areas of India where there were more Muslims than Hindus to become a separate country, Pakistan. Gandhi agreed that people in those areas could vote to decide on partition, but he wanted India to win her freedom first. Jinnah wanted partition now, while the British were still in India, and he wanted only Muslims to vote for it. In June 1945, Lord Wavell, India's new viceroy, released several important political leaders who had been in prison since August 1942. He also invited India's leaders to a meeting that month and promised a new council. There would be an equal number of Hindus and Muslims, and an equal number of Congress members and Muslim League members on the new council. These would be chosen by Wavell from lists the parties gave him. The Congress was a much bigger organization than the Muslim League, so this did not seem fair to Congress members, but they wanted Wavell's plan to work so much that they agreed to it. Jinnah did not want the plan to work. He said that he wanted to choose all the Muslims in the council. But this would mean that the Congress could not suggest any of the many Muslims in their party, including their new president, Azad. Also, the Congress was a national and non-religious organization. It would be wrong for them to choose only Hindu members. The talks came to an end. In July, a new Labour government was elected in Britain. The war in Europe had ended in May, and in August Japan stopped fighting too. The Labour government and Lord Wavell called for elections in India that winter, after which a new constitution would be agreed for an independent India. In the elections of December 1945, the Congress won most of the non-Muslim seats, and the Muslim League most of the Muslim ones. In March 1946, a group of British ministers arrived to decide how India's new national government would work. They also needed to decide if Britain should give Jinnah the separate Pakistan he asked for. In May, after long talks with India's political leaders, the ministers published their plan. They could understand why Muslims were worried about living with Hindus under Indian rule, the ministers said. There were many more Hindus than Muslims in India, and Muslims were worried that their religion and way of life would not be safe. But in 3 of the provinces that Jinnah wanted to take into Pakistan, there were many Hindus. Life would be just as difficult for these Hindus, the ministers argued. If they made Pakistan smaller so that it included only the areas where Muslims lived, the 3 provinces, each with their own languages, histories, and traditions, would be divided. India, the ministers decided, should stay as one country, but India's new government would only be able to make decisions if the Hindus and Muslims agreed. Jinnah was not happy about many parts of the plan, but he agreed to it. The Congress talked for a long time before agreeing to the plan. They were not happy about the way members were going to be chosen for the new government, which would run India. Jinnah believed that the British would now ask him to become Prime Minister. But when the Congress at last agreed to the plan, Jawaharlal Nehru, who was president of the party once more, was asked to become Prime Minister of India. Jinnah, furious, refused to have any role in the new government. The Muslim League called for a direct action day on the 16th of August, and there were violent riots in Calcutta in which hundreds of Hindus were killed. Over the next few days, Hindus fought back, and even more Muslims died. Violence moved across India into the Punjab, Bengal, and Bihar. When Gandhi heard that Hindu-Muslim violence was moving from the cities into the villages, he felt that he had to do something. Gandhi decided to visit the Noakhali area of Bengal, which had seen terrible violence. Noakhali was far away in the east of India and many kilometers from the nearest city. When he arrived, he sent his followers to live alone in the villages, where they taught the people to live without violence. From November 1946 until March 1947, 77-year-old Gandhi moved from village to village. He stayed for 2 or 3 days in each village, talking and praying, then walked without shoes to the next one, 4 or 5 kilometers away. As he travelled around the area, more and more people came to Gandhi's meetings, and many Hindus who had run away from their homes began to come back. When Gandhi left Noakhali, he had not stopped the disagreements completely, but Hindus and Muslims were coming together more and more. Gandhi asked a Muslim and a Hindu in each village to keep its people safe. Gandhi now moved to Bihar, where there had been terrible riots and more than 5,000 people, mainly Muslims, had died. Gandhi visited Muslims who had lost family or their homes, and he collected money for them at his meetings. Many Muslims had run away from the area, and Gandhi called on Hindus to welcome them back and make them feel safe. Gandhi had been in Bihar for 3 weeks when Lord Mountbatten, India's new viceroy, asked him to come to Delhi. The British government had said that Britain would leave India before June 1948, but Jinnah was still refusing to join the group that needed to make the constitution for independent India. Lord Mountbatten now wanted Jinnah and Gandhi to find an agreement that would give India a peaceful future as a free country.